Meet the Americans who fled Trump and now live in Dutch refugee camps. This psychosis needs to be steadied. So I'm totally in support for this. Go and flee to your refugee camp.
I didn't even know this was happening, but I gotta be real. I am so glad I know about it now. So apparently, 76 Americans who identify as trans have fled to the Netherlands to claim asylum. And the Netherlands is hilarious because they don't just let you in their country while they process your asylum claim. No, they put you in a camp, like with fences and tents. Oh, and just to be clear, all 76 claims have been denied because the Netherlands recognizes that the United States is a safe country. And to claim asylum in another nation, you have to be fleeing something. And the wild thing is fleeing to the Netherlands, a country whose restrictions on transgender surgery are more strict than the United States. Because like in the Netherlands, you're not even allowed to apply for top surgery until you're 16. In the United States, we allow that as young as 8. The only thing that the Netherlands allows that the United States doesn't is they allow transgenders to serve in the military. Now, of course, none of these 76 people actually want to go do that. So all of their claims have been denied. They get one appeal, and they get to go live in a camp while they do that appeal. And we will shortly have them back in the U.S. God, I wish they would keep them, though.
Let's be real for a second. How do you end up leaving the United States and then finding yourself in a refugee camp somewhere else? That doesn't add up at first, but it's actually happening, as you guys heard. And when you look at it closely, it raises a bigger question about perception versus reality. You got people who truly believe things were so bad here that they needed to leave, only to run into systems in other countries that operate very differently. From my perspective, this is one of those moments where expectations meet reality in a very real way. Because it's one thing to think about leaving, and it's another thing to actually go through the process and deal with the outcome. And what we're seeing here is that the United States is still being viewed by other countries as stable and safe, which is why these asylum claims aren't holding up. That alone says a lot. And we're going to break this down, look at the different perspectives, and then I'll give my thoughts. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and check this out.
When you think of refugees, your mind probably goes to Africans or Syrians fleeing conflict. But what if I told you that Americans, people from the United States, are now applying for refugee status, and the numbers are higher than you think? For decades, the US was the place others ran to for safety. Now people are running from it. So why are US citizens applying for asylum, and where are they going? In Canada, 245 Americans filed refugee claims in just the first half of 2025, already more than all of last year. In Australia, at least 29 Americans have applied for protection visas this year. And Ireland has also seen a rise, tripling applications from US nationals since 2024. Small numbers compared to African or Middle Eastern flows, but still, the trend is real. Lawyers say many claims come from LGBTQ+ and transgender Americans who feel unsafe with rising restrictions and hostility at home. But here's the catch. Most claims get rejected. Why? Because the US is still classed as a safe country. Even so, the fact that Americans are trying tells us something. Think about the reversal. The country that once gave asylum to millions is now producing its own claimants. Meanwhile, across Africa, over 230,000 Americans live on the continent today, not as refugees, but as migrants, workers, and settlers. Migration is never one way. History keeps flipping the script. So never hold yourself above others. Because the refugee you look down on today, tomorrow it could be you. This is the Africa you're not shown. And it's Africa that reminds us no country is above migration.
Here's what this actually looks like in real life, because there's an important distinction between It's an important distinction people need to understand. There's a difference between choosing to live overseas and trying to claim asylum. Americans have been moving abroad for years, places like Costa Rica, Thailand, Dominican Republic, usually because of cost of living or lifestyle changes. That's a personal decision. And it often comes with trade offs. But asylum is something completely different. It requires proof that you're facing real danger or serious harm. And when people from the United States try to make that claim, other countries are going to evaluate it based on facts, not feelings. And that's where things start to fall apart, because when those claims are reviewed, they don't meet the standard that's required. So, what this looks like is a situation where expectations don't match how these systems actually work. And in many cases, people end up realizing that much later in the process.
I need to leave the country. Does anyone know if there is a mail order bride website for Ireland? That's the only place I can go to right now because they're the only sane country in the EU. So my mother's four grandparents were all from Ireland. My heritage is Irish. I just want to go back to my homeland. I want to get out of here. This place is crazy. It's crazy. Is there a refugee status? Is there somebody willing to take me in? A mail order bride. I'll do it. I don't want to do it, but I'll do it. I come with 4 dogs. Can anyone take me in?
When I look at the multiple videos of people that were dying to flee this country, oh, this is an awful place. President Donald Trump is president. Only for you all to get over there to that country that you all fled to and realize that it ain't what you thought it was. I'm going to show you all a few clippings of these people that suffer from TDS, Trump deranged syndrome. They go over here thinking that they're going to escape this man. Like this man is a whole country. This man is just one individual. And then when they get over there, it ain't what they thought they were. Healthcare ain't what they thought they were. Prices ain't what they thought it was. Housing ain't what they thought it was. Now they got to go and tuck their tail and come back and to America. Let's get to these clippings.
And hundreds, thousands of dollars out of pocket that we were not planning on. So now we're going back to the United States to get our son the care that he needs. And
so during earlier videos, this lady and stuff, she was so excited about moving to Mexico. She was excited about the passports. She took the pictures. She said, we're about to finally live our dream. She couldn't stay in America any longer, only to get over there to Mexico. And then her son got sick. And then all the expenses started coming. Now you want the United States health care. Wow. So it wasn't what y'all thought it was. Let's get to another clipping of another one. She's a TikToker. Her name is Nope Brigade. She was excited about going to Canada. Oh, she's finna get rid of the U.S. Let's get to this clipping.
TikTok, which is tell you where I'm located. I'm a scholar of the far right who has fled the United States to Canada, and I need help.
She's a scholar on the far right. Wow, yeah, you know.
She's on TikTok, went viral and all that, and just wanted to bash the U.S. Just scurried on over there to Canada, and it wasn't what she thought it was. I'm going to show you this last clipping of her because it is so pitiful to me at how these people are so hateful of Trump that they want to dismiss America, dismiss the quality, dismiss the resources, dismiss everything they have here just to go run to another place where they think that they're going to rely on these people welfare system and the people be so resourceful to them. A lot of places are not resourceful to Americans. They're going to preserve their stuff, unlike Americans, like the Democrats did when they opened up the borders and let everybody flood over here. A lot of people are not going to allow you to flood into their country. It don't even have to be a flood. It could be 10, 20 of you. And they're going to make sure that they preserve the resources that they have for their natural born people. Now, this is what she's explaining about Canada.
My name, you don't know my university, I don't film with my friends. So revealing where I'm located feels very hard. But the situation in Canada is absolutely dire. For Americans who don't know, the housing crisis here is worse than in the United States. I lived in LA for 6 years, and I have not faced rent as bad as here.
LA's.
And then these Americans want us to feel empathy for them. They want us to feel empathy for them because you want to leave a place because of a president. And then you get where you are and you feeling real sick. And then you got to come onto TikTok and you got to cry and you got to beg and everything when you were in place in the beginning. I do not feel sorry for nobody that flees over into a country and get into the shit that they get in. I do not feel sorry for anybody that when Trump tells you not to travel over here and you feel like F Trump and go over there and travel over there and get captured and get stuck. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? You delusional Americans, you radical liberals, all of you all are going to get everything that you got coming to you because you won't listen. Your hatred for this man is blinding your better judgment, your common sense, and it is just ridiculous. Blacks, I'm a black woman. You cannot rage bait me. You cannot make me think that I got to go run somewhere because I'm next. I would never be next. I was born and raised in America.
When you step back and look at the bigger picture, this what really comes down to how people understand the system they're living in. The United States was built with a structure that's meant to stay stable even when leadership changes. That includes constitutional protections, legal systems, and the ability for people to move, work, and build a life across different states, right? And from my perspective, that's something a lot of people don't fully consider until they compare it to how other countries operate, I should say. Now, to be fair, there are people who are genuinely frustrated with the direction of the country, and that's a valid feeling. Supporters of leaving might argue that they're seeking a better quality of life or a system that aligns more with their values. But the reality is, every country has its own limitations, and not all systems function the same way. So when people make that move expecting everything to improve across the board, it can lead to a disconnect between what they expected and what they actually experience.
So apparently 76 trans Americans fled Trump's tyranny for Dutch safety. 0 were granted asylum, still in refugee camps that they're claiming are worse than the US prisons. Mind you, half of these individuals probably left high-rise apartments in the US to go and live on the floor in sleeping bags in the dirt and claim that they were so oppressed and needed to seek asylum from the US. Seek asylum from what? And another thing that these people fail to realize is you went to the Netherlands to try to seek asylum when they genuinely feel that people from the US are presumed not to need asylum protection because they treat the United States as a safe country of origin, and in order to get approval, it is very rare unless they can prove specific individualized prosecution that the US government cannot or will not address. Because the Netherlands considers the US a safe country, applicants must clear a very high bar. They must show specific personal threats, not general fears. They must prove that they can't relocate safely within the US and show that they can't get protection from police or courts. And simply seeking asylum for being a transgender and not agreeing with your government, the applicant could qualify if they can prove repeated targeted violence with no police protection, credible death threats or extreme harassment, evidence that authorities refuse to help or protect them. And even then, the approval is still rare. So it looks to me that you guys are probably never going to get approved for asylum because you don't qualify for any of the things listed. No one is out there just blatantly targeting you at all. And if you are blatantly targeted or violent, someone is violent towards you just because of who you are, there's laws against that. It's called hate crimes, and that person will go to fucking jail for it. So again, the law still protects you. And you can easily relocate wherever the fuck you want within the United States without somebody stopping you just because you're LGBTQ whatever plus. People have lost no rights whatsoever, and you can walk freely on this God-given motherfucking earth just the same way everybody else does in the United States. So y'all are over there suffering and realizing that the grass isn't greener. Oh, and the fact that everybody has immigration laws and you can't just seek asylum wherever the fuck you want. Yeah, I don't feel bad for you. Deal with it. Learn. You live and you learn, right? Like, let's be real. These people have not lost any constitutional rights under Donald Trump. Marriage equality, workplace protections, freedom of speech are all fully intact. So trying to claim otherwise and seek asylum abroad is not going to go in your favor because you haven't lost anything. And you have many protections under this government. I think that these people have lost their fucking minds and they thought that they were running from something that didn't exist just to put themselves in a worse situation. And I'm glad that they realized you can't just up and flee and go to somebody's other fucking country and think they're just going to open their doors to you immediately.
Well, there you have it, family. So this is where everything really comes together. You are seeing real examples of people who made a major decision and then had to deal with the outcome when things didn't go as planned. Whether it's healthcare, housing, or overall cost of living, these are real world factors that impact people quickly once they relocate. And from this perspective, it becomes less about politics and more about understanding how different systems actually work. Because no country is perfect and every place has trade-offs. The United States has its issues, but it also provides a level of flexibility and protection that's still hard to match in many parts of the world. So when people leave expecting a completely better situation, it doesn't always play out that way, and that's the real takeaway here. It's not about dismissing anyone's feelings. It's about recognizing that decisions have outcomes, and sometimes those outcomes don't match expectations. I'm curious to what you guys think about this. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your post notifications so you don't miss the next one. Spread that peace, love, and positivity always, and let the love supersede the hate, family. Peace.